I never thought I'd be sharing my story like this, but life has a funny way of pushing you into corners you never expected to be in. My name is Mark, and I was married to Jennifer for nearly a decade. We had 2 kids, a nice suburban home, and what I thought was a solid relationship, until everything came crashing down during a family vacation. It started with little things. Jennifer, usually so attentive to the kids in our family life, began to pull away. She was on her phone more often, texting and giggling at something I couldn't see. I brushed it off as her just being busy or needing some space. Maybe it was work-related stress. After all, we were both juggling careers and parenting. We all know how that can wear on you. But there was something else, something darker, lurking beneath the surface that I just couldn't put my finger on. The trip to the beach was supposed to be a refreshing family getaway. We packed up the kids, Josh and Emma, with their toys and beach gear, eager for a week of sun and sand. But it didn't take long before I noticed more signs. Jennifer seemed distracted, often withdrawing to the balcony of our rented condo. When I asked if everything was okay, she brushed me off with a flippant, "I'm just enjoying some quiet time, Mark. Don't be so dramatic." It should have been a red flag, but I was still trying to convince myself that everything was fine. After all, we had plans and our kids were excited. But then came the moment that shattered my illusion of normalcy. One evening, after a long day at the beach, we were all sitting around the fire pit, roasting marshmallows and laughing. I went inside to grab some drinks, and when I returned, I caught a glimpse of something out of place. There was Jennifer, locked in a passionate kiss with a man I didn't recognize. The world seemed to stop. My heart raced as I stood frozen in shock. My mind couldn't process what I was witnessing. I looked down at Josh and Emma, who were blissfully unaware, giggling as they fought over a s'more. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest, and quietly backed away. I needed to think. I needed to breathe. I went back inside, my mind spinning. I couldn't believe what I'd just seen. I replayed the scene over and over in my head, and every time it felt like a punch to the gut. How long had this been going on? Had she been lying to me all along? I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my reflection in the darkened window, and wondered how I could confront her without putting our children in the middle of this mess. When she finally returned from whatever rendezvous she had, she walked in like nothing happened. Her hair was tousled, and she wore that same coy smile I had fallen for all those years ago. My heart raced with an anger I didn't fully understand yet. How could she act like this was just another day? "Hey, everything okay? You seemed to disappear for a while," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She shrugged and said, "Just needed some air. The kids are fine, right?" Fine. The kids were fine, but inside I was anything but fine. I had just witnessed my wife betray me right in front of our children, and she was treating it like a casual evening stroll. I knew I had to confront her about it, but I also knew that doing so would unleash a storm of chaos. I could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on me. I needed to think, to gather my thoughts before I confronted her. The night stretched on, and I was restless. I kept replaying that kiss in my mind, the intimacy, the betrayal. I felt like a fool for not recognizing the signs earlier. Little did I know, all of this was just the beginning of a long, painful journey that would change everything. Would you like to hear more? The next morning was a haze of confusion and unresolved emotions. I was up early, the sun barely peeking over the horizon, casting a soft glow across the kitchen. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of everything. I brewed coffee, hoping that the caffeine might help jolt my brain into clarity. Instead, it only amplified the pounding in my head. Jennifer came in a little later, looking fresh and cheerful, as if she hadn't just torpedoed our family's stability. It was infuriating to see her so at ease. I tried to act normal for the kids' sake, but every smile felt forced, every laugh felt hollow. As we sat down for breakfast, I watched her, searching for any hint of guilt or acknowledgement of the betrayal. There was none. "Are you excited for the beach today?" she asked the kids, her tone light and bubbly. "Yeah, can we build a big sandcastle?" Emma shouted, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Josh nodded in agreement, his mouth full of pancakes. I forced a smile, but inside my stomach was churning. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine. I had to confront her, I just didn't know how to start. The day passed in a blur of beach activities, kids splashing in the waves, laughter echoing over the sound of the ocean. But all I could think about was that kiss, the moment that had shattered my trust. Once the kids were asleep that night, I knew it was time. I steeled myself, my heart racing as I walked into the living room where Jennifer was scrolling through her phone, blissfully unaware of the storm about to hit. I took a deep breath, my hands trembling slightly. "Can we talk?" I said, my voice steady. Despite the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me, she put her phone down, looking at me with a mix of curiosity and annoyance. "What's wrong, Mark? You're being weird. Just tell me the truth. Are you having an affair?" The words tumbled out before I could second-guess myself. It felt shocking to hear them spoken aloud, but there was no turning back now. Her reaction was instantaneous. Shock morphed into defensiveness. "What? That's absurd. Where is this coming from?" "Don't act like I'm crazy," I replied, my voice rising slightly. "I saw you last night. You kissed someone right in front of me. I can't just ignore that." The color drained from her face, and for a moment I thought I saw a flicker of fear in her eyes, but it was gone just as quickly. "Oh, come on, Mark. It was just a friendly kiss. You're reading way too much into this." "Friendly? A friendly kiss? Are you kidding me?" I couldn't believe she was trying to downplay it. "I saw the way you looked at him. You're lying to me." She crossed her arms, defiance etched on her face. "You're being ridiculous. I don't have to explain myself to you." "Ridiculous? You think this is ridiculous? After what I saw, I was losing control, but I couldn't help it. The betrayal felt like a raw wound, seeping anger and hurt. "I need you to be honest with me, Jen. There's no way I'm going to let this go without a real conversation." Instead of answering, she turned away, grabbing her phone and typing furiously. It was as if I had ceased to exist for her at that moment. I felt a burning rage mixed with despair. Here we were on the brink of a marital crisis, and she was more concerned about her damn phone than about the man she was supposed to love. "Fine. If you don't want to talk, I'll find out the truth myself," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, filled with a mix of anger and resignation. It was a threat, but it was also a promise. I was done being the fool. The confrontation hung in the air like a heavy fog, and without another word I walked out of the room, leaving her to her devices. The next few days were excruciating. I was on edge, constantly wrestling with the emotions bubbling beneath the surface. I spent time with the kids, but my mind was elsewhere, strategizing my next move. I had to dig deeper. I needed proof, something concrete that would expose her lies. The anger had ignited a fire within me, and I was determined to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. "Would you like to continue?" The days dragged on, filled with a mix of family outings and the gnawing tension that had taken root between Jennifer and me. I felt like a detective in my own life, trying to piece together the fragments of her betrayal. Early in the morning, while she was still asleep, I started searching for any clues that might lead me to the truth. I rifled through her purse, combed through her phone when she left it unattended, checking for messages or any signs that would confirm my suspicions. It was like piecing together a puzzle with missing pieces. Like every time I thought I was close to the truth, I found myself back at square one. I didn't find anything concrete until I stumbled across her social media account. While it was mostly filled with family photos, something caught my eye: a series of pictures tagged with a guy named Tom. In one, they were together at a party, her laughing with her head thrown back, her arm draped casually over his shoulder. It made my stomach turn. I scrolled through the comments, searching for anything that might hint at the nature of their relationship. Sure enough, there were playful exchanges, too casual to be friendly. "Can't wait for our next adventure," he commented on one of her photos. My heart sank further. I felt like I was living in a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. I decided to confront her again that evening. The kids were tucked into bed, their innocent faces a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing in my heart. I took a deep breath, my mind racing with what I was about to do. I made my way to the living room, where she was lounging on the couch, a glass of wine in hand and her phone still glued to her fingers. "Jennifer, we need to talk," I said, my voice firm but steady. She looked up, a hint of annoyance crossing her features. Seriously, Mark, what now? I sat down across from her, my hands clenched together in my lap. I found your photos with Tom. You can't keep pretending this isn't happening. It's obvious there's something going on between you two. Her expression shifted from annoyance to a mix of surprise and anger. What? You've got to be kidding. It's just a few pictures. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. A mountain? Jen, it's not just pictures. You act around him, how you look at him. It's everything. Just be honest with me for once. Her defensiveness hardened into a wall. You're being paranoid, Mark. You always do this. You never trust me. Trust you? How am I supposed to trust you when you're off kissing other men? My voice was rising again, but I didn't care. It's not just paranoia, it's reality. Jennifer stood up abruptly, her demeanor shifting from defensive to angry. You don't know what you're talking about. You're making accusations without knowing the context. Context? What context could possibly justify cheating? I snapped back, standing up as well. You're lying to my face. You think I'll just sit here and take it? I can't believe you're putting me through this. You're making things worse, she yelled, her voice escalating. What happened to the man I married? You're acting like a jealous lunatic. In that moment, as the anger surged through me, I felt an overwhelming mix of heartbreak and fury. It hurt to see her this way, so dismissive of our marriage and the pain she was causing. I'm not trying to make things worse, Jen. I'm trying to save our family. But I can't do that when you're lying to me. The silence that followed was heavy. I could see her wavering, a flicker of doubt crossing her features, but instead of remorse, she crossed her arms defiantly, shaking her head. You're being unreasonable. If you want to throw this all away over some photos, that's your decision. It felt like a slap in the face. It was as if she was dismissing all the years we had built together, all the love we had shared. So you're okay with this? You're okay with throwing away everything we built because of a fling? I'm not. Throwing anything away, you're the one who can't let go. This isn't about you, it's about me feeling trapped in this relationship. She shot back, her voice breaking in frustration. I was at a crossroads. I knew then that I needed to make a decision. I could no longer stand by and let her manipulate the situation. Maybe you need to think long and hard about what you want, Jennifer, because I can't keep living like this. I deserve better. With that, I turned away, leaving her standing there, a mixture of anger and uncertainty flaring in her eyes. I walked back to our bedroom, my heart heavy but resolute. I was done playing games. The next step was clear. I needed to confront her again, not about the accusations, but about the future, our future. Would you like to hear more? The following days felt like a tense standoff. Jennifer and I moved around each other like strangers in our own home, and the silence was deafening. It was as if a wall had been erected between us, one built on mistrust and unresolved emotions. I spent my days distracted, wrestling with thoughts of what to do. Next, every time I looked at our kids, I was reminded of what was at stake, our family, our life together. My emotions swung wildly between anger and despair. I could see Jennifer playing the role of the doting mother, engaging with the kids, laughing at their silly jokes, but I also saw the way her smile didn't reach her eyes. I felt an almost unbearable urge to confront her again, but I needed to choose my words carefully. I had to find a way to penetrate the wall she had built around herself. Finally, one evening after the kids were asleep, I decided that it was time to have a serious conversation about our future. I gathered my thoughts, trying to remain calm despite the storm brewing inside me. As I walked into the living room, I found Jennifer curled up on the couch, focused intently on her phone. It was a stark reminder of how connected she was to something, or someone else. "Can we please talk, Jennifer?" I asked, my voice low and steady. She looked up, a flicker of annoyance crossing her features. "Can't this wait? I'm tired." "No, it can't wait." I took a deep breath, trying to project calmness despite the turmoil inside me. "We need to have an honest conversation about us, about our marriage." Her expression shifted from annoyance to resignation. "Fine. What do you want to say?" "I want to know if you're willing to fight for this marriage or if you've already made your decision. Because right now, it feels like you're more invested in whatever's happening outside of our home than you are in our family," I said, my heart racing. She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms defensively. "You're being dramatic again. This isn't just about you and your feelings." "No, it's not just about me. It's about our family. It's about us." I felt the frustration bubbling over. I need to know if you want to fix this or if you're already gone. Jennifer sighed, her demeanor softening for the first time. I don't know, Mark, I really don't. Things have changed between us, and I don't know if we can get back to where we were. Things have changed because you've pushed me away, I exclaimed. You've chosen to lie and hide parts of yourself from me. I can't fix something if you won't let me in. Her gaze dropped and I could see the struggle within her. I don't want to lie anymore. I just don't know if I can be the person you want me to be. Then let's figure this out together. I can't promise perfection, but I want to work on it. I want to understand what went wrong. I said, my heart aching at the thought of losing her, but hoping that maybe, just maybe, there was a flicker of hope left. She looked up at me, her expression softening further. I never wanted to hurt you, Mark. It's been hard for me too, but I don't know how to fix it. Then let's start by being honest with each other, I replied. You need to tell me what you want. Do you want to stay or do you want to walk away? There was a long, charged silence as we stared at each other, the weight of the moment hanging heavy. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't want to walk away. I just don't know if I can be who you need me to be right now. That admission hit me harder than I expected. It was the first time I felt a glimmer of vulnerability from her. Then let's take it one day at a time. Let's be real about what we both need. We owe our kids that much at least. She nodded slowly, her eyes reflecting a mix of uncertainty and hope. Okay, I'll try. I'll try to be better. We spent the rest of the night talking tentatively at first, but eventually opening up about our feelings, our fears, and the cracks that had formed in our relationship. It was raw and emotional, filled with both moments of pain and glimpses of connection. I could sense a shift, a small step toward rebuilding what was broken, but the battle was far from over. While I was hopeful, I knew that the road ahead was going to be challenging. Trust was a fragile thing, and we had a long way to go. It felt like we were standing on the edge of a precipice, peering into the abyss, but at least we were facing it together. Would you like to continue? The days following that, heart to heart, were a mix of hope and uncertainty. Jennifer and I made an effort to reconnect, but the journey of rebuilding trust felt like climbing a mountain with no clear path. Though we spoke openly and tried to be more present for each other, I still found myself glancing at her phone, heart racing when a notification pinged. The anxiety didn't fully dissipate, and lingering doubts crept in like shadows. We started setting small goals, date nights, family activities, and open communication. I thought if we could rebuild the foundations of our relationship, maybe we could weather the storm. But no matter how hard I tried to push the doubts aside, I still felt a tightness in my chest. Was she truly committed to this change? Or was she just trying to placate me? One evening, after putting the kids to bed, I suggested we watch a movie together. It felt like a step toward normalcy, a chance to reclaim what we had lost. But as we settled into the couch, I noticed Jennifer's phone buzzing incessantly. I tried to ignore it, but it was impossible. Each buzz felt like a reminder that she might still be connected to someone who wasn't me. Do you want to check that? I asked, my voice more accusatory than I intended. She frowned, a hint of irritation flickering across her face. No, it can wait, it's just work stuff. Right, I replied, forcing a calmness I didn't feel. But you've been so glued to that thing lately. Can we just enjoy the moment without distractions? Mark, I'm trying. Can you just relax for one night? She snapped, frustration bubbling to the surface. Relax. You want me to relax while I'm literally watching you scroll through your phone instead of engaging with me? I shot back, the anger creeping back in. How am I supposed to feel secure in this relationship if you keep pushing me away? The tension hung thick in the air, and it felt like we were back to square one. She scoffed, rolling her eyes. You're being unreasonable again. Not everything is about you. Not everything is about me, but this is. You're the one who broke my trust, and I'm trying to work through it. You can't just expect me to pretend like everything is fine when it's not. I yelled, my voice filled with pent-up frustration. Fine. If you want to keep dwelling on the past, then maybe we shouldn't have this conversation, she said, standing up, her eyes blazing. Dwell on the past. I'm trying to prevent the future from being a repeat of the past. Can you not see that? I felt defeated, like I was running in circles. Jennifer stormed out of the room, leaving me sitting there, heart racing and frustration boiling over. I followed her, desperate to salvage whatever was left of the night. "Jen, wait, can we please talk about this? I don't want to fight." She paused at the door, her back to me, shoulders tense. "I don't want to talk if you're just going to blame me. I'm trying, Mark, but you have to meet me halfway." "I know," I said, my voice softer now. "I just feel like you're still hiding something. I need to know you're fully here with me." She turned to face me, her expression reflecting a mix of anger and hurt. "I don't know what else to say. I'm scared, Mark. Scared of messing up again. Scared of losing you." The vulnerability in her eyes struck a chord. Despite the anger, I realized we were both scared, terrified of what the future held for our family. "I'm scared too," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But I'm willing to fight for us. I want us to work, but you need to meet me on this." Jennifer took a deep breath, visibly calming down. "Okay, I'll try to be more open, but you also need to trust me even when it's hard." "Deal," I replied, my heart lifting slightly. We stood there for a moment, the tension dissipating as we both took a step back from the brink. But just as I thought we were making progress, the phone buzzed again, this time with a message that caught my attention. Jennifer's face paled, and I could sense the tension creeping back in. "Who is that?" I asked, my heart sinking. "It's just," she hesitated, biting her lip as she glanced at the screen. "Just what?" I pressed, dread washing over me. "It's Tom," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. The world around me shifted as I felt a rush of anger and betrayal surging through my veins. I had thought we were moving forward, and yet here we were again. I knew this was it, the moment that would determine whether our marriage could survive. "Are you kidding me? After everything we've been through, he's still in your life?" My voice cracked, the hurt spilling out. "You said you wanted to work on this, and now this." She looked conflicted, torn between the truth and the chaos she had created. "I didn't mean to, it's just a message. I'm trying to cut ties, I swear." "Cut ties? This isn't just a casual conversation. You're still connected to him while trying to fix our marriage." I felt like I was losing control, desperation clawing at my insides. "I know I messed up, but I need time to figure this out, Mark." The reality that I was still sharing my life with someone who had betrayed my trust sank in. "I can't do this if you're not all in, Jennifer. I need to know you're willing to cut ties for us." "I will. I promise." She pleaded, her eyes wide open, filled with fear. But fear was enough to quell the storm brewing inside me. I had thought we were on a path to healing, yet here we were, back where it all began. I felt the ground shift beneath us, and I realized that our journey toward reconciliation had just taken a dramatic turn. "Would you like to continue?" The revelation about Tom hit me like a freight train. My heart raced, and I felt as if the air had been sucked out of the room. I had put my trust in Jennifer, believing that we were on the path to healing, only to discover that she was still entangled with the very person who had betrayed us. I couldn't help but wonder if I had been fooling myself all along. "Mark, please," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "I'm trying to be honest. I don't want to lose you. I just need to figure out how to let him go completely." "Figure it out? You really think that's enough?" I shot back, the frustration boiling over. "You can't keep him in your life while trying to repair what's been broken between us. It doesn't work like that. It feels like you're still choosing him over us." "I'm not choosing him, I want to choose us." Her voice broke, and for a moment I could see the pain in her eyes reflected back at me. "But it's complicated. I need time." "Time? How much time, Jennifer? How long am I supposed to wait and hope you'll make the right choice? I deserve to know that you're committed to our marriage." My heart raced, and I felt the walls closing in around me. "Why can't you trust me?" she cried, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm trying to be better. I want to make this work. But you're still holding on to your past." I couldn't help but raise my voice. "You need to make a choice. It's either him or me. You can't have both." The gravity of my words hung in the air, and I could see the realization dawning on her. She took a step back, her face pale as she wrestled with the enormity of what I was asking. I don't know if I can just cut him out like that." The moment felt like it was stretching on forever, each second weighed down by the gravity of what lay ahead. My heart was breaking, but I knew I couldn't keep living in this uncertainty. "If you can't let him go, then I can't stay. I won't be a backup plan or an afterthought in your life." She stepped forward, reaching out to me. "Please, Mark, don't say that. I love you. I want to work on this, but I need help. I need time to figure out how to move on. I want to fight for us too, Jen, but I can't do it if you're not fully committed." It's not fair to me or the kids. The words felt heavy on my tongue, but they were the truth. I needed her to understand the stakes. I'll cut him off, I promise. I will. Just give me a chance to prove it to you, she begged, her voice breaking. Prove it, I whispered, the fire in my heart dimming slightly. But I need you to mean it. No more lies, no more excuses. Jennifer nodded, her tears spilling over as she stepped closer and wrapped her arms around me. I hesitated. Moment, my heart wrestling with the pain of betrayal and the longing for connection. I'll try, she murmured against my shoulder. I'll try to be better. As I held her, I felt a flicker of hope. It would take time, maybe a long time, but I realized that I wasn't ready to walk away just yet. I loved her despite the hurt. We had shared so much together, and maybe, just maybe, we could find a way to rebuild what was lost. But I knew it wouldn't be easy. Trust had to be earned again, and I needed to see consistent change. We made a commitment to each other that night, a promise to navigate the rocky road ahead together. It wouldn't be simple, and I was aware that there would be challenges along the way, but as long as we were willing to face them together, there was a chance. In the days that followed, I watched Jennifer closely. She began to put in the effort. She called Tom and ended things, and I felt a small spark of hope ignite. There were still moments of tension and uncertainty, but we were learning to communicate better, to be honest about our feelings, and slowly but surely to mend the fractures in our marriage. As the sun set on our tumultuous journey, I reflected on the lessons I had learned. Trust, once broken, takes time and effort to rebuild. It requires vulnerability, honesty, and a willingness to fight for each other. It's a journey, not a destination, and sometimes the hardest battles lead to the strongest foundations. I couldn't predict the future, but I knew one thing for certain. I would never take love for granted again. It was a gift, and I was determined to cherish it every day, no matter what challenges lay ahead. And with that resolve, I felt ready to face whatever came next together.